What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. This build is dumb. It is so good. I have had so much fun playing through the game on New Game Plus 1. Now, just because this is a New Game Plus 1 build does not mean it's a New Game Plus build. Every single thing that I'm going to show you can be given to you in your first playthrough, and this is a level 150 build, so strap up. It's going to be really, really fun, and I'm very excited to show this to you. So, we are going to go over the armor, the talismans, the weapons we're going to be using, and the Flask of Wonders physic, and I really think you guys are going to like it. I call this build the Bloody Executioner build. It is going to operate around the Crescent Moon Axe, and we're also going to put a blood affinity on it and use wild strikes, and it is going to be absolutely devastating. I have been playing through this particular playthrough for about 6 to 7 hours now, and I have never had a problem with a boss, and I have almost 1 to 2 shot every single NPC I've come across, and it's a lot of fun. So, speaking of the axe, let's just go right into the weapons real quick. You have 2 options for this, and 2 options are the exact same weapon, but how you use them will be different. The first option is going to be using one single Crescent Moon axe, putting the blood affinity on it so you can get the blood loss, and then also using wild strikes. If you do this, you are going to literally chew through the entire game, and it will not be hard for you. The second option is to use 2 Crescent Moon axes, because it's only going to double your damage and double your blood loss, and you can still use the wild strikes when you want to get that blood loss build up really, really fast. If you want to find these weapons, first and foremost, you can get them in Stormvale Castle. There's a few executioner guards that are stationed there. Kill them multiple times. The best place I have found to farm these guys is right here. If you go to the Limgrave Tower Bridge site of Grace and you just run backwards, there's a bunch of these exiles that are sitting there. You can kill them, and I believe 2 or 3 of those guys have a chance to drop this axe for you. Definitely a fast farm, and the drop rate on it is decent, so you're not going to spend hours and hours and hours getting this weapon. I think this weapon looks amazing, and it really goes with the executioner feel and RP of the build, so that is why I chose this. And I also wanted to use a weapon that I had never used before that I don't see a lot of people using. It's going to have a physical damage of 303 plus 268, so it's a really heavy hitter. It's got a strength scaling of C and arc scaling of D, only because we put the blood loss affinity on it, and then also it has a dex scaling of C. So not the highest scaling, but as you're going to see in this video, it does a lot of damage very, very quickly. Now, if you want to get the Wild Strikes Ash of War, it's extraordinarily easy to get, and you get it very, very early in the game. You're going to go up north in Limgrave towards Stormvale Castle, and there's going to be a road that's barricaded by a bunch of different soldiers, and there's going to be a teardrop scarab that's right in the middle of that road. Kill that scarab and you will attain the Ash of War Wild Strikes. So if you want to copy this exact build and use this exact armor set that I'm using, here's exactly where you can find all of the pieces. First and foremost, I'm using the Glimmer Knight Helm, the Raging Wolf Armor, the Bloodhound Knight Gauntlets, and the Scaled Greaves. So let me go ahead and tell you exactly how to get all these pieces I'm wearing. First and foremost, 2 of these pieces are going to be found at the exact same time. The Glimmer Knight Helm and the Bloodhound Knight Gauntlet are going to be found in the Glimmer Hero's grave on Mount Gelmir, and it's going to be dropped by the Bloodhound Knight, but it's going to be guarding a Glimmer Knight set. So you're going to get 2 sets at one time if you go to this location on the map, run through, kill this guy, and he's going to drop those for you. As far as the Raging Wolf Armor, aka also the Raging Knight set, you are going to get this from a quest in Volcano Manor, I believe after your 2nd letter. You're going to be asked to assist Bernal in his invasion, and you're going to do an invasion team up, and once you complete that invasion, you will then be rewarded with the Raging Wolf armor set. And finally, our Scaled Greaves. These are going to be located after killing the first assassination target from Volcano Manor, so really, you only have to go to 2 locations to get this entire set, and it's well worth it. You don't have to use this entire set. You can use something that's heavier, and your poise can even go higher up with the talismans we're using, and you will not get knocked out of Wild Strikes, and it's going to be amazing. So now let's get into how this build actually works and the talismans we're going to use for it. So first and foremost, you're going to have the Great Jar's Arsenal, and this is going to allow your equip load to vastly increase, which means you're going to be able to use a lot heavier armor, and this helps a lot with carrying dual axes as well. In fact, this is actually going to help you increase that equip load by 19%, and you're going to get this by completing the Great Jar's Trial over here in Caelid after you kill the 3 invaders. This is the reward you will be given. The next talisman we're going to be using is the Claw Talisman. This is going to enhance your jump attacks. So not only are we using Wild Strikes, but when we want to close in on the enemy quickly, jump attacks are a great way to do that. This talisman is going to increase your jump attacks by 10%, so it's a nice damage boost to get on top of everything else we're already doing. This talisman can be located at the Rampart Tower site of Grace. If you head east and do a little bit of parkour to get up on top of one of the towers, it will be located directly on the tallest tower, surrounded by birds, and you can grab it from there. And our third talisman is going to be the Bull Goat's Talisman. This is the talisman I was talking about that's going to help increase our poise so we can take bigger hits without getting staggered. This talisman is going to raise your poise by 33%, which is absolutely massive, and it's also one of the easiest talismans to get in the game. If you come all the way over here in Caelid to the Dragon Barrow Cave, it's going to be sitting right on the grass there. You only have to avoid a rune bear. So if you can do that, grab the talisman, this won't be yours, and you'll get that 33% increase to your poise. And the last talisman I highly recommend for this build is the Winged Sword Insignia. Now, before you run to the comments, understand I know that you should be using the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia for this build because it will give you a much larger attack power boost. However, I haven't gotten that in this playthrough yet, so this has been working just fine for me for now. The Winged Sword Insignia is going to give you 3 separate tiers of attack power boost, much like the Milson's Prosthesis and the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia. However, this one is going to give you a smaller boost. The first tier is going to be 3%, the next tier is going to be 5%, and then finally when you really start hitting those successive attacks, you're going to get a 10% attack power boost. So this is going to go very well overall with all the other talismans that we have together, and I really enjoy how this works. If you want to snag the Winged Sword Insignia, it's going to be right here almost at the beginning of the game in Stillwater Cave, which is the first dungeon you are going to hit in Liurnia of the Lakes. Kill the boss at the end of that dungeon and he will drop for you this talisman. And lastly, let's go over our Flask of Wondrous Physic because you guys are going to get an extra damage boost with this as well. The first tier we're going to be using is the Thorny Crack tier, which is going to make our successive attacks grow stronger. This goes really, really well with Wild Strikes, which is why I chose this tier, and it's going to increase your damage by 9%, 13%, and then 20% when you finally get up and running. If you want to find this particular tier, it is a little bit of an end game tier, but you can find it in the Consecrated Snowfields dropped by a Putrid Avatar in the northeast. And the last tier that we're going to be using for this build is the Opaline Bubble tier. This tier is going to give you a increased damage negation, and you are going to take 90% less damage for 3 minutes. Now, let me explain exactly how that works. When you drink your flask, you're going to get a bubble of damage negation around you. If you get hit, it's going to allow you to pretty much have a get out of jail free card by barely taking any damage and not getting knocked out of whatever you were doing. I like this a lot. It's a really nice little handicap for us, especially if you do get hit a lot. This tier is really going to help you out a lot. Now, if you want to find this tier, it's located from the Erd Tree in Weeping Peninsula. All you need to do is kill that Erd Tree boss and he will drop this for you. And real quick, just before the video ends, I'm going to go ahead and leave my stats here on the screen for you just so you can see what I'm working with and what I've allocated my stats into. The majority of the stats that are going into this build are going into Vigor, Strength, and Arcane just because I wanted that extra blood loss damage and the strength to hit extra hard. So this is a level 150 build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for sticking around. And guys, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoy the Bloody Executioner build. I know I've had an absolute blast playing through the game with this build. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, feel free to hit that sub button and press the bell notification so you can know when I'm making more content. I make Zelda Tears of the Kingdom content. I do Elden Ring stuff. We're getting ready to gear up for Lies of P and Lords of the Fallen, so I'm very excited about that. But thank you guys so much for all the support you've given to the channel. We're almost at 9,000 subscribers in 6 months, which is absolutely crazy. So without further ado, thank you so much. Stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.